2 weeks after a group of young officers overthrew Burkina Faso's transitional president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré was officially sworn in as the country's new leader. Burkina Faso and its president have been making headlines globally. International media often describe the nation as unstable and unsafe. With a flood of conflicting reports circulating online, it's become increasingly difficult to separate fact from fiction. Burkina Faso is a landlocked West African country that has endured years of political instability, terrorist threats, and foreign interference, leaving many citizens feeling hopeless. Nearly 40% of the population lives below the poverty line, and yet, paradoxically, this is Africa's fourth largest gold producer. How can a land so rich in natural resources still be among the continent's poorest? If you take the land of Burkina Faso, beneath it is gold. At the center of a nation's turning point is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a 36-year-old soldier who rose to power in 2022 during a turbulent time. Since then, many have come to see him as more than just a revolutionary. For some, he is a symbol of national pride, so much so that they say they would protect him with their lives. If someone comes here with bad intentions toward our president, we'll know. To some, he's a rebel with a gun. To others, he's the second coming of Thomas Sankara. Whatever one's perspective, it's clear that he has captured the full attention of the African continent. And now, mine too. What shocked me most, he refuses to take a president's salary. He still receives the salary of captain, I was told. Even today, yes, even now, this revelation and my curiosity about the truth behind the headlines drove me to visit Burkina Faso myself. I wanted to meet the people, walk the streets, and if possible, hear directly from the man behind the movement. Welcome to Burkina Faso. This was my first time in the country, and like many African nations I've explored, I arrived not knowing what to expect. So I stepped out into the capital city to feel the energy for myself. What immediately surprised me was the vibrancy of daily life. Despite what one might expect from a nation under military rule, it didn't feel like a country in crisis. One of the most fascinating things I noticed, women riding motorcycles with confidence and freedom. This land, once known as Upper Volta, a former French colony, gained independence on August 5th, 1960. The spirit of freedom still pulses through its streets today. My journey began with my arrival in Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso. The country gained its independence from France in 1960. But for many, real change didn't arrive until 1983, when a bold, young Pan-Africanist named Thomas Sankara rose to power. Sankara immediately set a new tone for the nation. He renamed it Burkina Faso, which means land of upright people. He inspired millions with his radical ideas, integrity, and commitment to self-reliance. But in 1987, his life and revolution were cut short by assassination. What followed was decades of political upheaval, shifting powers, and unrest. A cycle of hope and disappointment repeated itself, until 2022, when another young soldier stepped forward. That man was Captain Ibrahim Traoré, declared the new head of state at just 34 years old, making him Africa's youngest leader at the time. His promise? Not to serve the interests of the West, but to remain loyal to the will of his people. Ibrahim is not the kind of leader who gives you orders. He shows you the way. Upon taking office, Traoré made bold and immediate changes. He expelled French military forces. He suspended foreign news outlets like France 24. He restricted foreign NGOs, especially those seen as interfering. He aligned more closely with Russia and other anti-Western African states. And he issued a clear message. In this new Burkina Faso, even foreigners, white or not, are subject to the same laws as everyone else. One resident explained the airline policy shift. French airlines had restricted access and put our country under a red alert. Investors were being chased away. So Ibrahim said, no problem. He banned them from landing here altogether. They came back, asking if they could resume flights. And he said, only after you fix your lies online about us. Then we can talk. With no national airline of its own, Burkina Faso's skies were empty until Traoré's administration revived a national carrier. We didn't even have one plane. Now we have Air Burkina, and it flies to many African countries. One day, it'll go everywhere. And just like that, the comparisons to Thomas Sankara returned. This led me to visit the newly renovated Sankara Memorial, a powerful symbol of Burkina Faso's revolutionary spirit, restored under Traoré's leadership. This exact spot, my guide told me, was where Thomas Sankara was assassinated. He motioned for me to sit down. He was right here. Then he came outside, and that was it. I paused for a moment of silence. The weight of history in this place was undeniable. And just behind us stood a towering statue of Sankara, a national hero, his gaze fixed toward the future. This place is really high up, I whispered to myself, standing beneath the bronze figure. As I continued exploring the city, I noticed something unexpected. CCTV cameras, mounted on roads, intersections, and public spaces. They weren't just for appearances. These cameras were actively monitoring traffic behavior, and violations carry consequences. One local explained, if you disobey the traffic lights or the laws the president put in place, you will be punished. How? I asked. You may be made to clean the roads from morning till afternoon. You'll be picking up garbage or sweeping the streets. Even if you're a foreigner, I pressed. There's no difference here. Even a Chinese man was caught. And yes, he cleaned the road. People were laughing, but the law is the law for everyone. As we drove through the city, we noticed a group of workers on the roadside, filling potholes by hand. This, too, is one of the government's grassroots initiatives. Most of these roads, my driver said, were never tarred before, but now they are, and the ones with damage are getting fixed. It's far from perfect. Some interior roads are still in poor condition, but the effort is evident, and the transformation is underway. There are places we never imagined we'd have roads, he added. Now, you can drive there easily. I wanted to understand what it truly takes to build a business here in Burkina Faso. So, I sat down with the CEO of Let's Go, a rising electric car company based in the heart of the capital. According to him, everything changed with the arrival of the new administration. Did you live outside the country before? I asked. Yes, he replied. I was studying in Turkey. Coming back home was difficult, but what really brought me back was the change in leadership. For the first time in a long time, we had hope. Captain Ibrahim Traoré inspired me. He gave people like me the courage to believe again. His story was just beginning. When I launched the app, he continued, I had only 12 cars. But on the very first day, we received over 10,000 ride requests. He smiled as he recalled. I just looked at my drivers and said, good luck. Then I sat down, took a deep breath, and drank some coffee thinking, damn, that's a lot. The demand was overwhelming. Clients were frustrated. But that's the challenge of building something from scratch, especially in a country still developing its own infrastructure. It wasn't easy, he said. A business like this takes serious resources. But now things are different. We finally have more vehicles coming in. And the best part? They're assembled right here in Burkina Faso. I was surprised. Locally assembled? I asked. Yes, he confirmed. By our own people. Instead of importing fully built vehicles, they now build them part by part on local soil. A move that not only reduces costs, but also lowers energy consumption. It's not just a business. It's a vision for a new Burkina Faso, driven by innovation, grounded in self-reliance, and inspired by hope. Does the name have a meaning? I asked. Yes, he replied. It's actually the name of a village. Each car model, he explained, carries the name of a local landmark, places that mean something to the people of Burkina Faso. This one's called Tenacru. It's named after a mountain here. These aren't just vehicles, they're cultural symbols, with each model telling a story. Then, he showed us the charger that comes with the car. You just plug in at home, he said. It takes 4 hours to fully charge. The cost? Around $5. The car itself? 11,000 euros. Affordable by Western standards, but a significant investment locally. Do you have financing options like they do in Europe, pay in small installments? I asked. Yes, he smiled. Some banks here support that too. We then toured several real estate projects, including EV charging stations and newly paved roads that now connect once isolated neighborhoods. Is this mall open yet? Not yet, he said, but construction started less than 2 years ago, and it's nearly finished. We stopped by a model apartment, sleek, modern, and fully furnished. How much for a home like this? About $100,000, he said. And yes, you can finance it, rent to own, just like in other countries. Burkina Faso is adapting, and fast. We even asked about Airbnb. $120 per night, he said, and you get a place like this. So how many bedrooms is this one? I asked. 4, he replied. The apartment was stunning, modern, spacious, and just minutes away from one of the city's most iconic landmarks. An apartment like this in this area, near the monument. How much does it cost? Actually, he said, they're all sold out. The entire building gone. The price? 400,000 euros, which is roughly $440,000. Clearly, demand is growing fast. Curious about the broader economic landscape, I asked, are there opportunities for business here? Especially for foreigners, say, other Africans looking to invest. Absolutely, he said. It's not hard to set up a business here, but success depends on what you invest in. His advice was simple yet powerful. Find a gap, fill a need, solve a real problem. There are many left behind by previous regimes. He emphasized one key sector in particular. Agriculture, he said. Burkina Faso has strong political support for it. If you're looking to invest, agriculture is the future. These are actually young people. Many are refugees, my guide explained. After their training here, some choose to join the army, while others go on to become entrepreneurs or farmers. Every month, around 150 people arrive here to learn about agriculture and sustainable farming. It's a rotational program, part of a broader initiative to give youth both purpose and opportunity. Some of them go on to set up farms, he said, but many, they still carry deep pain, the trauma of what happened to their families, and they want to fight. They want to serve in the military. It was deeply moving, a generation rising from the ashes of instability, choosing between rebuilding and defending. To get a clearer sense of how this new regime is reshaping lives, I headed to a university campus, a place where ideas, ambitions, and future leadership are taking root. But before we dive into that, here's a quick message from today's sponsor. As a frequent traveler, one of the biggest headaches I face is staying connected abroad. The moment you land in a new country, your SIM card stops working, and suddenly, you're offline. In Burkina Faso, I faced this exact issue. I couldn't book a taxi, find my hotel, or even communicate. And the local SIM card vendors? Some of them didn't even speak my language. One even tried to scam me at the airport with a fake SIM card. That's when I discovered Nomad eSIM, a digital solution that eliminates all the stress. No need for physical SIM cards. It works in over 200 countries. No roaming fees and super affordable rates. All I had to do was download the Nomad eSIM app from the App Store or Google Play. Select the country I was traveling to. Choose my data plan and duration. Enter my discount code. Hit activate. Once connected to the internet, everything changed, and I have to say, Nomad eSIM has been a game changer for my travels, making every experience smoother and more enjoyable. A huge thank you to Nomad for sponsoring this video. I want you to just tell me, I asked one student, what's it like living here right now? She smiled. I could say life has changed now, she said. We have a president who's fighting for us. 5, 6 years ago, life wasn't like this. Now we feel like things are finally moving forward. At the university, the changes were visible. Before, they didn't even have access to reliable Wi-Fi. Now, students are more connected than ever. This is the university restaurant, she said as we walked past it. Before, the line used to be so long, people couldn't even get food. Now the quality is better, and the cost is manageable. With just $1, you can get a decent meal. More importantly, education is becoming accessible. Even if you don't have money, there are ways to apply for support, she said. If you don't have the means now, you can study and pay later, like with student loans. The deeper we talked, the more I could see the gap between international perception and local reality. Before I came, people warned me. It's dangerous, there's war, don't go, I admitted. But when I arrived, it was different, completely different. She nodded. We are happy here, she said. We didn't choose this situation. It was imposed on us. But we lived through it. As they say, adversity will come, but we need to keep moving. When young students in Africa graduate, their first thought is often to leave, to pursue further education or better opportunities in Europe, in France, or somewhere they believe will offer more. But is that mindset the same here in Burkina Faso? Yes, of course, one young man admitted. Many people here still believe that everything better is outside, in another country, that you can only succeed if you leave. But let me tell you, that's a lie. His voice carried a deep conviction. They came here, white people, and they changed our minds. They told us we couldn't succeed in Africa, that we had nothing. But that's not true. Everything we need is right here. He pointed to an example that resonated throughout West Africa. Look at our neighbor, Côte d'Ivoire. They grow cocoa, tons of it. But foreigners come, take the cocoa, go back to Europe, process it, and then sell it back to us as chocolate. We produce the cocoa, but we don't even know the price of chocolate. He paused, then added with pride. It's our cocoa, our land, our work. That's why young people here, we believe we should stay. We have everything. We don't envy the West, but staying isn't always easy. What are some of the biggest challenges young people face? I asked. Like everywhere, it's not easy, he said. But if you want to succeed, you have to work. That's the reality. And one of the biggest challenges here? The sun. We laughed. Man, the sun is serious. Today, 47 degrees Celsius. This sun is money, if you know how to use it. Though Burkina Faso doesn't have oil like Nigeria, nor access to the sea, they have something just as powerful. 9 months of blazing sun every year. That's a resource too, he said. We have a solar panel factory, not in the city, but not far from here. So yes, there are plans for solar energy, and it's something we can build on, turning challenges into strengths. Life and business in Burkina Faso. Difficulties can become advantages if you know how to look at them right. That mindset is exactly what's shaping the future of Burkina Faso. For instance, in the solar energy sector, the country has chosen to invest in self-reliance. Instead of importing solar panels, the policy is clear: buy only what's made in Burkina Faso. It's a strategy designed to keep the money circulating locally, empowering factories, creating jobs, and building an economy from within. Once the factory is finished, only then can you buy. That way, the money stays in the country. It makes perfect sense, I responded. These are some very forward-thinking initiatives. The Amsterdam of West Africa? One thing you can't miss in Burkina Faso is the bicycle culture. Men, women, young, old, everyone rides. The city echoes the vibe of Amsterdam with its sea of two-wheelers. If it's not a bike, it's a motorbike. And what's truly unique, most bikes aren't even locked. Don't leave your bike outside the designated parking. I'm warned, or it might disappear. To prevent theft, the city has implemented a simple but effective system. Every bike is tagged with a number, and riders must present a matching ticket to retrieve it. It's a basic form of control, someone explained. But it works. Welcome to Mama Sankara's kitchen. We made our way to Mama Sankara's place, or Mamsang, as the locals affectionately call it. Her name itself is a tribute, a contraction of Mama and Sankara, Burkina Faso's revolutionary hero. The food was ready. Boom! There you have it. Beans, meat, something special. They handed me a local delicacy. I need to see your face when you eat this, someone said, laughing. It wasn't bad. Not my first choice. I'm more of a rice guy. But honestly, it was good and deeply local. Doing business in Burkina Faso, I wanted to understand the entrepreneurial landscape. So I asked, how easy is it to start a business here? Surprisingly, it's easier than expected. There's no government barrier. You come, register, and if your business is valid, you can start within a week. Of course, some industries, like pipelines or health-related ventures, require more paperwork and certifications. But overall, the process is quicker than ever before. In the past, It could take 3 years to get licensed. Now, 1 week. Still, it's not all smooth sailing. What are the real challenges? One word: finance. As entrepreneurs, we feel like the loan system is broken, a local businessman said. Bank loans feel impossible. The interest rates are so high it discourages young people completely. Even the president, he said, is aware of the problem. He's reportedly called on banks to ease the process and support youth-led ventures. The cost of living and patriotism in a bottle. I asked about daily life, rent, utilities, basic expenses. Still high, someone admitted, but cheaper than Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire, or even Nigeria. For example, you can rent a decent home for just 15,000 CFA francs a month. That's around $25 US. But the recent war and political instability have led to extra taxes on nearly everything. Surprisingly, people don't resent it. We pay with joy, one man said, lifting his beer. This drink? It's helping build a hospital. I'm doing my part for the country. He smiled and added, I've contributed. Now let me enjoy my beer. Life has changed now, he said. We have a president who is genuinely fighting for us. 5 or 6 years ago, things weren't like this. Now there are opportunities. At university, for example, we now have access to Wi-Fi. We didn't before. Even the food situation has improved. For just 100 francs, you can get a decent meal at the university restaurant. And if students can't pay tuition fees immediately, there are loan programs that allow them to pay later. He added, when people outside talk about our country, they often say it's unsafe or war-torn. But when you come here, the reality is different. We didn't choose this situation, it was imposed on us, but we are learning to live through it. I then asked about a common trend across Africa. How many students aspire to leave their countries to study or work abroad? He replied, yes, many here think that life is better in Europe or France. But it's a lie. The West has manipulated us into believing that we can't succeed here. They come, take our resources, like cocoa from Côte d'Ivoire, then sell it back to us as chocolate. But it's our cocoa. It's our land. Another young person chimed in, we don't envy the West. We have everything we need right here. Of course, challenges exist. The sun is brutal. Today it's 47 degrees Celsius, but that sun is also a blessing. We have about 9 months of sun each year. We don't have oil or seaports like Nigeria, but we have an abundance of sunlight. There's even a local factory now producing solar panels, helping keep investments and profits within the country. What stood out to me most was the vibrant cycling culture. Everyone knows I ride a bike here. I noted. Men, women, children, the elderly, bicycles are everywhere. It reminds me of Amsterdam. In fact, bikes are so common, they often aren't locked. But systems are in place. Bikes and motorbikes are tagged with numbers, and parking areas require a ticket to retrieve your vehicle. Simple but effective. We then visited a local woman named Mam Sankara, a name affectionately derived from Mama Sankara, referencing the beloved revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara. She treated us to traditional food made from beans, rice, and local spices. Not bad, I said with a smile. Wouldn't be my first choice of cake, but it's good. I also asked about starting a business. It's easier now than before, someone told me. The president doesn't want bureaucracy to hold back entrepreneurship. You can register and open a business in a week if everything checks out. It used to take up to 3 years, but I also wanted a balanced view, so I asked about the challenges. Financing is a huge issue, one entrepreneur shared. Getting loans is hard, and interest rates are extremely high. Even the president acknowledges this and has called on banks to support young business owners. When it comes to the cost of living, things are relatively affordable compared to neighboring countries like Senegal or Côte d'Ivoire. You can rent a house here for as little as 15,000 CFA francs a month, someone said. However, due to the conflict, taxes have increased to support the government. Still, people pay them gladly. Someone joked, we're probably the only country where you can drink beer and say, I'm contributing to the national hospital. That's the tax. It goes to a cause. There's a lot of misinformation about the country online. Some people told me that social media isn't allowed and that people can't speak freely. But that's not true. I have Instagram, Facebook, I post whatever I want, one man told me. There's free speech here. That's why I respect that you actually came to see things for yourself. Another rumor I wanted to confirm was about the country's natural resources. I heard the president sold everything to Russia. I said, "That's false," he replied. "We actually reclaimed our resources. French and Canadian companies were controlling our gold mines. We were only getting 10 to 20% of the revenue. But now we've bought the equipment, taken full control, and we sell at our own prices." He added, "Russia offered us technology transfer and knowledge, not handouts. That's what our president wanted. We don't want aid. If we need something, we'll buy it." It turns out Burkina Faso is also one of Africa's largest cotton producers. We sell our cotton and we buy what we need. We set our prices. As we drove back, my guide pointed out something extraordinary. Near a roundabout by the presidential villa, people were lying on the ground. Not because they were homeless, but by choice. They're forming a human shield, he explained. They sleep here at night to protect the president. I was amazed. But there are soldiers. What do ordinary people do without weapons? "We don't need weapons," one of them said. "We have our voices. We'll raise the alarm. We'll call those who have weapons to come help. We believe in our leader and we'll protect him. If someone suspicious comes around this area near the president's residence, we'll recognize them immediately," someone told me. "The road here leads directly to the president's house. What I'm seeing isn't just patriotism, it's deep, unwavering loyalty." And so, I found myself asking, what is this man doing differently that inspires so many people to risk their lives for him? One man explained it simply. He shows us the way. He walks with us. And because of that, we choose to stand by him. Another added, he allows people to speak openly. If you complain about a sector, he doesn't ignore it. He brings you in, shows you the challenges, and explains the progress being made. After spending several days in Burkina Faso, I began to realize something profound. The country's true strength doesn't lie in its gold or in government institutions. It lies in its people. It's in the way they show up for one another, the way they carry pride and hope, and the way they believe so deeply in the future they are building together. I asked a young person whether they truly believe their dreams can come true in Burkina Faso. "Absolutely," he replied, without hesitation. "I have no doubt. One of my biggest dreams is to see my country free from terrorism and to live in peace. Because with peace, anything is possible. Whether I become a lawyer or a doctor, none of it matters without peace. So that's my first dream, peace. And after that, I know I can achieve anything." He continued, "You're here today, but come back in 4 or 5 years. Burkina Faso won't be the same. We're changing. We're on the way." In all my years of traveling, I've never seen such unanimous support for a national leader. Sure, people still face challenges, but there's a shared sense of hope, a collective recognition that real progress is being made. This government isn't just about comfort or slogans. It's about building a new model for how African countries can thrive. A nation where resources are used not to enrich outsiders, but to uplift its people. One citizen put it bluntly, "We don't have time to argue with people on the internet, those who say bad things about our government. We're too busy working. Just come back in 2 or 3 years and see the results with your own eyes." "Merci," he smiled. "Come back again. You say Wakanda?" "Yes, we'll be like Wakanda. Wakanda forever."